as you've probably noticed, I'm lacking a Scottish accent. I'm afraid Red Hammer Gio Mackie can't be here tonight. He's sort of overdosed on iron brew or something like that. So you're going to have to put up with my unprofessional manner, I'm afraid. I've got, we've gone for the quadruple today. We've got 3 regulars plus myself. First of all, moving my way along the bottom of the screen there, we've got the Southend sex bomb himself. If you're on Tinder, you probably know him as the Dickie from Billericay. Is Tom? You all right, Tom?
Yeah, not bad, Gonzo. I won't tell everyone what I call you. No, no swearing.
Yeah, I might have just breached that just slightly. Next we have him here. He's up from the Northern Highlands. We were just on a forum. I said to him, do you fancy coming on talk a game? He said yes. He doesn't like Mark Noble. He's the Ebenezer Scrooge of West Ham fans. Scott, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me on.
You're welcome. Where's your tank of frogs, mate? You normally got a tank of frogs on the shelf.
They're in the kitchen.
Well, I'm glad, actually. As soon as I said that, I thought, oh no, they're dead. Retract that. I'm glad, particularly for your daughter. I know she loves her frogs. Lastly but not least, it's Hagrid himself. We call him the Tango Guzzler. He's the only one that gets a Subway delivered to his door. Charlie, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right, yeah. Okay. Right then. How are we going to play this? I've got a few questions lined up. So we'd normally do a review show for the West Brom game, and then we'd do a preview show for the Man U, but we're sort of going to mix it up a little bit and try and do it all at one. So we'll do with West Brom first. Let's start with the one good thing, which was Zarati's free kick. Charlie, I'll go to you first because I know he's a bit of a subject for you. Is it Zarati kid or mediocre Mauro for you?
He had a good first half. There was before the goal, he was doing typical Mauro Zarati stuff, taking one too many touches, failing to pass the ball. But after he scored, he actually started to play really well. And there were times where I saw the old him creeping back in, but he did really well. And in the second half, everyone played badly, so there's no point criticising anyone for that. Everyone was bad. I can't pick any one person out and be like, oh, they were really bad because they were all rubbish. So, but first half, there were signs of him actually being a football player, which was nice. But what can you do?
So what about you, Tom? A game of two halves as well?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, we should have been 2 or 3 up at half time. The fact we didn't get that second goal, it was always looking over our shoulder, wasn't we? Thinking, oh, we're going to let it slip, and we did. It happened to be a massive deflected equaliser, didn't it? And when you haven't got the rub of the green, that's what happens.
A bit subdued, wasn't it, Tom?
It was, mate. Yeah, it was a subdued atmosphere. Yeah, a bit disappointing really, because I want to see every home game this season up to part of the final season. Really electric.
Yeah, not so great. Scott, I don't know how much you caught of the game. Obviously, I know Tom was there. Antonio, what the bloody hell's going on?
A little bit disappointed. I wanted him to come on. Been wanting to see him for ages, and then he came on, and it was just a bit of an anticlimax, really, for him. I don't know what he were doing. It's like he just couldn't keep up with the game. But the game as a whole, I took a point to start with, but by the end, I just thought we threw it away.
But I'm finding it a little bit weird that Antonio's not being involved. Do you think there's a bigger thing going on, or do you think there's a clause in the contract that states Moses has got to play? I thought he was quite lazy. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't get it. He's on the bench, and if he's not going to play him, don't put him on the bench. Put somebody on who's going to come on. So I don't get it myself. Is it that the manager doesn't like him? Is he not fit? Just come out. And I think it was Gio that said it last week. Just come out and make a statement as to where he's up to. But the lad came on and he looked a bit out of sorts. Just either back him or flick him off somewhere.
Yeah, I think you've got to. We've got to try him at least. Do you know what? If he's crap, he's crap. I don't mind, honestly. And if he is, then he goes somewhere else. That's fine. But I'd at least like the opportunity to see, and I'd like the lad himself to get an opportunity. 1, 2, 3 games to prove himself. For me, Moses is blowing hot or cold. So I just think there's a window of opportunity there, and Bilic has actually been quite good. So when someone has a ricket like Tompkins gets dropped earlier on the season. Jenkinson had a rick, he got dropped. So he's sort of shown that he will drop people, but there seems to be I don't know if it's something in the clause with Chelsea or something, but yeah, feel a bit sorry for Antonio at the moment, really. And, on the run we're on, I think we could probably have done with a bit of invention, a bit of something else.
And he can play. You just have to see the stuff that he did. I know it's a different division, but you just see the stuff that he did for Forest, and he can play. And I think, like you said, give him a bit of a try, make him feel involved in the squad.
No, absolutely. Earlier on in the week, I was trying to decide what to do in terms, we're doing a review, and I thought, you know what, I've got a really good idea, and I'll do a newspaper review. And I was traveling. I was driving back from work and pulled in the petrol station. I thought, I know what I'll do. I don't want to buy the things, but I'll save the pennies. So I'll have a little cheeky look at the newspaper rack. So I had a look, and there was one particular headline that caught my eye, and it was really nothing to do with football, and it made me forget all about the newspaper review. So there's not going to be a newspaper review. I don't know if anybody saw I think it must have been the Daily Sport from yesterday, and the headline read, Tom knows this, 20 stone Adele lookalike stole my sausages. Which sort of threw me. So unfortunately there is no paper review. I don't care if we're going to be linked with Dumbia. I don't care if we're going to sell Andy Carroll. The 20 stone Adele lookalike stealing sausages from some poor kid's party, I thought was probably a bad thing. But we move on. We've got the Man United game coming up. Charlie, we've got no wins in the last 4 games. Are we going to be able to wreck their party? We'll be stealing Manchester United sausages, do you think?
So I said on the season so far review I did with West Ham Fan TV, I was talking about how
that was a plug?
You can check it out on youtube.com/West Ham Fan TV. But I was talking about how Bilic hasn't quite got the team playing in the way he wants, and it's clear when you watch him on the sidelines, he's constantly telling people what to do. And in a way, it's a lot easier to set up against big teams because everyone sort of knows their role in that match. You know how to counter-attack. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit different than having to impose your style on someone else. And so going to Man United, we're not going to expect to rock up and be like 100% possession. And so I think we've got a lot better chance of beating Man U, strangely, than we do of West Brom at home. I think we can do it. I think we've got the team to do it. Sacco being out is my biggest worry, just because I still don't see how Andy Carroll's going to fit into the style we're doing and the play we're doing. But there's no better time to prove himself than Manchester United away. So I hope so. We can do it. We have the ability to do it. But
no, well, yeah, I think you've stumbled onto a good point there because Manchester United are very defensively good. Louis van Gaal's got very well set up, and they've probably got the outstanding goalkeeper in Europe at the moment. Tom, do you think? What are we going to do? How are we going to mix the forwards up? Do we have something in our armoury to trouble David De Gea?
Yeah, as you said, Gonzo, De Gea is obviously he's been good, but obviously Smalling's been really good for Man United. He's been the standout player for me, for Man United if I look at their team. But moving forward to with our attack, for me, I'll still stick with a 4-5-1, and I'll put Zarate up top by himself personally. That's what I would do. But
that's a controversial one. Well, to be fair, I think he may even be our top scorer this season. So you're ditching Carroll altogether, are you?
I am, yeah. Carroll to replace Zarate, and we go for a 4-4-2 if it's still 0-0, 1-1. It's a tight game.
I know we've moved on to Man U, but we can go forward and go backwards. We can do what we want. Wasn't that a bit strange with Carroll and Jelavic to bring 2 target men, not one being able to run in behind? Was that a strange one for you against West Brom?
Yeah, it was personally. Yeah, it was very, very strange. It was a very, very strange decision. And both of them. I mean, Jelavic obviously hasn't got the pace, and Carroll, and he obviously wants someone to play after him, but someone obviously who can run. And Jelavic doesn't seem to run, does he? Really, when he gets going, he's a bit of a tank. But he doesn't get going very quickly.
Can I say something about that? Because I don't actually think it was that.
No, you can't. It's not your turn, Charlie.
Listen, I don't actually think it was that weird because halfway through that second half, it was clear both teams had given up on having midfields. They brought on a second target man as well with Ricky Lambert, and were just lumping balls forward to Lambert. And so in our centre, we had Kouyaté and Lanzini. And so we'd clearly just given up on a midfield as well because we knew there was going to be no one to play past, essentially. And so, again, and it's something I kind of love about Bilic is this idea of just let's put every striker we have on the pitch and just go for it 100%. But we still don't seem to be getting... The biggest problem is if you're going to have these 2 target men up front, we're just not getting as good crosses as we should be into them. That's the biggest problem. So it's not... We weren't looking to do these nice little tidy passing. It was like... But there was just no... There was nothing when we got there. And it was stupid, but it made sense just getting rid of the midfield because they didn't have one. So what's the point?
Well, that's what it's all about. Different opinions. We'll probably revisit the forwards a little bit before we finish, and we'll do a slightly longer show than the 15 minutes today. Scott, on to you, mate. Noble is available to start against Man U. So is Alex Song, who strangely wasn't brought on at all. What are we doing? What are we doing in the midfield against Man U? What's happening?
On the forum, I mean, I did mention Noble. I think I put Noble stroke Oxford. So that people didn't think I were too biased. Personally, I'd have gone with Oxford. I think Song should be in there. I'd go for a 4-4-2. I'd like to see Zarate and Lanzini up front and playing off the last man. I think if we put Andy Carroll up front and we start banging crosses in, they'll play him like a fool. They'll lap that up. I think a tight midfield, a midfield that's going to put a shift in, because when our midfield goes adrift, our back four are so exposed and they look stupid. So I'm looking for a tight midfield, someone that's going to battle, and then I'd like to see them two up front because we haven't got many options. I don't want Jellyfish up front. I'll be up front with you. I was excited when he came. I thought he was the manager's choice. He doesn't look like he's interested. Andy Carroll, fair enough, but we just bang eyeballs to him, and that's what we want to get away from that. And if you're not going to put anybody outside of Carroll, it's just a waste of time. So yeah, a tight midfield. I'd like to see Song in. If you're not going to bang Song in, he's probably one of our top players, and it's just a shame to see him on the bench sitting there watching the game.
Well, I think he's got absolute class. You don't play for Arsenal and Juventus, by being a load of rubbish. I think it's a really good point about Oxford as well, actually, almost the forgotten man. But, I mean, can he really play as badly as some of the guys have been? I think if we've got some players out of form, then you bring the lad in. I'm just thinking, Tom, where do you think the squad's lacking at the moment?
It's pretty clear, isn't it? I mean, we've got Valencia and Sacco out, so we're struggling up top of it. And also, for me, personally, it's the right back. Jenkinson's role, he doesn't seem to be defending. I mean, it's quite comical, really, over in the chicken run where I sit. Everyone laughs about it because, he's defending. It does go a bit wayward, well, a bit missing, to be honest. He's great at getting forward, but he does put us at risk at the back when he does get forward, and he doesn't seem to be. He does flap a lot when you see him. He does flap a lot, but he was awesome last season. This season hasn't been as good. I mean, right back for me and striker.
Fair enough. I mean, I think in terms of the striker, what we seem to have is there's sort of been this view that Andy Carroll is the injury-prone striker, and absolutely has been, but it's almost like, we've got an injury-prone striker. I think we've got three. And I think that's probably our problem. It's now, it's a bit too much of a coincidence. It's become a trend with Sacco. Sacco picks up injuries, not big ones, not ones that keep him out for half a year like Carroll does, but he will miss 2 or 3 months at a time. He'll play a string of games, then he goes again. And I think the same with Valencia. I don't know if that's got something to do with him playing for Ecuador as much as he does, but it seems to me we've got 3 injury-prone strikers and a journeyman from Hull. So I do think it's something that needs addressing. Charlie, if I gave you 15 million, well, aside from spending it on tango and fast food, if David Sullivan gave you £15 million to spend on a player or players, what are you going to do?
A right back is the first choice because we're not going to buy.
Have you got anyone in mind?
I like Sam Byram from Leeds. He's been playing further forward over the last season when I've seen him play. He's always played almost right midfielder. I don't know if they're playing like wing backs or whatnot, but I do like him. Young English kid from Leeds. I think he'd probably be my first choice. But a right back has to be first because we're not going to buy Jenkinson. They're asking too much money, and he's on a 5-year contract, so we're not going to get him. I would buy a second choice left back because if Aaron Cresswell gets injured, we're screwed. I don't know after that. They would be my first 2 priorities, and if we spend the majority of it on a right back, I wouldn't be too disappointed. there is a worry about strikers up front, but there's only a worry about strikers up front because we've got 3 pretty much injured constantly, which is, you know, to have like, say Andy Carroll gets injured as well, which is what happened earlier on, and to have him, Sacco and Valencia all injured, and we still have Zarate and Jelavic, that's not that bad considering, you know. So right back is the priority, to be honest.
Right, so I'll give you £15 million, you buy 2 fullbacks. That is why Tony Henry does the recruitment at West Ham United, Charlie. I can tell you that much. You've left us with no strikers. I can't believe it. You're going to play a 4-6-0.
I love a good 4-6-0, we all do, but I have left you with Zarate, the guy who I hate, right? And that's all I'm saying. He's good enough to be a 4th choice striker, because that's essentially what he is. So
that's very generous of you, our top scorer, our beautiful free kick taker. Disgraceful. Okay, on that, I'm going to give the last words on this to Scott, and I'm going to throw him the curveball, the nasty question. We'll have your appraisal of Bilic so far, please, Scott.
I think he's done okay. I'm looking on Twitter and different forums. You've got those West Ham fans, which they're going to bloody moan anyway. It's part of the DNA sometimes, isn't it? Just to bloody moan about stuff. But no, I think we're doing okay. Look at where we are in the league. We're playing football. Even last week, you know, it wasn't a brilliant game, but we were playing football. We've took some big scalps this year. Games that we weren't supposed to win, and we went out and did it in style. The only bit that I was going to critique him is at the beginning I thought that we'd have a plan B. I thought that he'd be able to tactically change things, and sometimes I do feel he's a little bit naive on some things. We just carry on doing the same thing, and that isn't. I'm hoping when he gets different personnel and that he can start to tinker with that a little bit, change a game.
Well, a fair appraisal, mate. Still early days, isn't it? So yeah, I think that's fair enough, mate. Just before we get on to our predictions, a couple of things. The forum, please come along and join us. The guest facility is open, so you can just come and post. You don't even have to join up. It's hammerschat.boards.net. Also, like to say sort of hello to our friends at West Ham Fan TV, and also ex-West Ham employee at the westhamway.co.uk. Predictions, please, gentlemen. Tom, if you would, for Man United. Obviously, myself and Tom are travelling up on the train, and Scott is actually going to be our courier, our chauffeur service once we get there, which is lovely. So let's have a prediction, Tom.
Chauffeur to the pub. Get it right, Gonzo. Chauffeur to the pub.
Chauffeur to the pub, yeah.
I'd like to see us turn them over. I really would. 3-0.
You are predicting 3-0 at Old Trafford.
Yeah, we're gonna. Well, you know, who thought was gonna beat Liverpool and Arsenal? You know, we're gonna go for the full. We're gonna go for the full lot, mate.
Fair point. Have you just been to the pub? You talking about going to the pub? You just come from the pub, Tom?
No. Well, you know, it's the West Ham. Everyone talks about the West Ham way, Gonzo. You know, we just had a couple of bad results at Tottenham and Watford. You know, and we'll probably go up Man United and turn them over.
Well, let's hope so. Charlie.
Sorry. I'm going to be a little bit more.
Sharpen up. This is the problem, eh? It's right. Thank goodness you're not up front.
It glitched about you.
Go on.
Listen. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative than Tom, just a little bit, and say 2-1 to us. A little bit more conservative. I think they're too good defensively to roll over like we have the likes of Liverpool and whatnot. So I'm going to say 2-1, but I have full confidence that we can do it.
Very, very nice. Scott?
In the past, going to Old Trafford, you'd fear it, but this season, not at all. 1-0, 2-1, 1-0, set piece. We'll do them on a set piece.
Well, very, very nice. I hope so. I can't ignore our lack of goal scoring, but I also think they're quite impotent up front. They've got a very good defence. I think we'll have a good defence. I'm going to go for the 0-0, and so none of us have gone for none of us are going to take a caning up there. So you know, fingers crossed. Right, that's it, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me at such short notice. Scott, the tree looks lovely, mate. It's looks very Christmassy.
Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful.
Nice, mate. Nice. Look forward to seeing
100% plastic.
Absolutely. I can smell it. It smells like very authentic, mate. You want to get some of that pine needle spray? It can smell nice, and it's beautiful. Is it a non-drop plastic tree?
It is a non-drop, and it's an Ibiza one. Look at it now, going for it.
It's all psychedelic, mate. Reminds me of the old days. Thank you very much, mate. I'll see you Saturday. And
Thank you.
Charlie, can you? What's going on, man? There's no Christmas decoration. Can we not get a hat on home? Have you seen this is the West Ham. Can we not get a hat on home with some bit of tinsel around your beard? Dye your beard white. That's what you want to do.
I've got the beard of a young Father Christmas. We've spoken about this before. It's fine. I've got a green T-shirt on, mate. It's about as Christmassy as I ever get.
Well, I'll tell you what. You sneak down my chimney Christmas Eve, mate.
I can safely say I'm not going to spend Christmas Eve at your house. I can say that.
No. I was going to invite you, but I won't now. Thank you very much, mate. Tom, I can't, but mate, it's just a bare wall behind you, mate, isn't it? There's no tinsel, there's no baubles, there's nothing, mate.
Bar humbug. I bought Charlie some baubles because it's all the rage this year. Blokes with big beards, it's them beard baubles. Have you seen them?
I have, yeah. It's worrying. I don't like them. It scares me.
It's on its way to you, Charlie.
I must have missed it. I must have missed the. I think he's probably got a couple of the old foot-long subways stuck in there somewhere, mate. There's enough food for a famine in his flaming facial hair, anyway.
Tom.
Nice one, fellas. We've been Talk a Good Game. I haven't been Red Hammer. I've been English Gonzo. Thank you very much. Hope we haven't bored you silly, and we'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye bye.
Thank you.